Hi students, this is the first video lecture, that is ML1 for the first PUC students. You have completed your 10th standard and you have joined science stream with mathematics as one of the subjects. So I will be uploading the video lessons on mathematics regularly in my channel. So please subscribe this channel and watch all the video lessons. Definitely you will be helped in understanding the mathematics in a better way. So I have planned the lessons like this. ML means actually main lessons. So that is the name I have given, lessons. Lesson. There is another type, supplementary lesson. So here what I do is, this main lesson will have numbers 1, 2, 3, etc. I will be uploading the main lessons first with the number 1, 2, 3 serial order. There in each chapter I will discuss the concept and then I will explain the concept with simple and relevant examples. Then once the concept is made clear, then I will go to exercise problems given in the textbook and we shall solve all types of questions, so that this I feel it is very convenient for the students. So if you understand all the main lessons, that means you have understood every concept properly. See, in mathematics, once you understand the concept, once you understand the formula, how to derive everything, solving problem becomes very simple. But if you don't understand here, this becomes difficult. Therefore, I have planned in two separate ways. First, in each chapter, I will clarify all the concepts with a minimum number of examples. Then I will go to supplementary. So, this is my plan for each chapter. As you know, there are 16 chapters in the first PUC. I will be uploading the lessons regularly in each chapter, both ML and SL. So if you follow all the lessons, definitely you will be very comfortable with the first PUC mathematics. So let me start the first chapter today, that is sets. So sets is the first chapter which you have to study, I think probably for the first time in PUC. In some syllabus it was there, in some syllabus it was not there. So but don't worry, we shall start with the beginning. We shall start with the beginning. So now you have to understand this concept of set like this. See, in our day-to-day life, we come across group of people, or team of players, or a bunch of flowers. So like this, so many examples I can give. There are actually collection of something. It may be objects, it may be people, it may be anything. So in the mathematics, these type of collections, we call this as set. In mathematics, the concept of set was first introduced by a mathematician called George Cantor. So this is the set theory. Nowadays in mathematics, set theory plays very important role even at higher level of mathematics. So now, let me first clarify what is the meaning of set. Here you see in mathematics, there should be clarity, there should not be any confusion. Now let me give two different types of examples. Say first one is uh, the number of buildings, in Bangalore, which are tall. This is one. Let me say second one is the numbers which are divisible by 5 less than 100. Look at these two sentences. In this case, what happens is, we cannot be sure about which building we have to include under the category, which building we have to exclude, because this tall is not well defined. We use the word well defined. Well defined. So this is a thing. But here it is very clear. For example, I can say the numbers which are divisible by 5 ways, definitely first one is 5, then next one is 10, etc. So the concept of set in mathematics is based on collection of objects which are well defined. Let me give a few more examples. Suppose I say the best 10 cricket players in India. Suppose I say, if one student is A, let us say another student is B. Suppose I ask him to list best 10 players, he will list according to his liking. And if I ask another student B, he will list in his own way. So the problem is, nobody can say commonly how many, only 10 players which are belonging to that category. So this is not possible. This is called not well defined. Now on the other hand, suppose I say set of or days in a week, days of a week. So there is no dispute. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. So this is the thing. Therefore, well defined means there should not be any ambiguity. That's the meaning of well defined. So using this concept of well defined, we define what is set actually. So set is a collection of well defined objects. So this is a thing. That means given a collection of objects, you should be definite to say that this particular element belongs to this group. So that is, or this particular element does not belong to this group. So these are the two things. And there are certain traditional ways which you have to follow. Say one is, a set is normally denoted by a capital letter like this. Then we use a brace, or we call it as flower bracket, you know already. In mathematics we use this like this. Now suppose the elements are say x, then y, then z, then t. Suppose there are 4 letters, set of 4 letters. So we have to put comma between the letters, excluding last. Last we should not put the comma. Here we have to put comma, separated by comma. Then we have to enclose the elements here. So this is the procedure of representing a set. This you should follow. And you should not write here A or small letter. That is not acceptable. So here it should be A only. But here there is no restriction. It can be capital also. For example, set of uppercase letters. Then you can use A, B, C, D, etc. But normally we use small letters here. And this is always uppercase letter. This is one thing. Second one is, you see, it need not be only letters. It can be anything. Say set of days in a week. So we write Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Set of months in a year. So January, February, like that. It can be anything. Set of rivers in India. Or the first 10 natural numbers. Anything you can write. So this is the way of writing. Then there are certain terms and conventions which you should remember. One is, all these member, there are 3 words which you use. There are 4 now. Either we can say members, we can use the word member, or we can say objects, or we can say element. So these are the 3 words, letters we are using synonymously. You can say X is a member of this set, or X is an object of this set, or X is an element of this set. This is one thing. Second one is, we use a symbol epsilon. This is a Greek letter. See, if I write X here, if I write like this, this means belongs to. So I should read like this: X belongs to A. Is okay, or X is a member of A, or X is an object of A. anything you can say. Normally we say X belongs to A. Every time we don't say member. X belongs to A. So this is the convention. Then whenever you write the elements in a set, it need not be in the same order. That means, suppose I write A equal to 1, 2, 3. I can also write this as 2, 1, 3. No difference. These two are one and the same. Order of the occurrence of the element is not important. We are not talking anything about their increasing or decreasing order. So that's one thing. Second one is, no element is repeated. That means, suppose an element is repeating, we don't write it twice. Imagine that there is a basket which contains say different flowers. Say one is rose, another one is say hibiscus or something different. When you write the set here, suppose there are two roses, we don't write rose, we write only rose. So this is another important thing. No element is repeated. Second one is order is not important. So this is the thing. Now let us understand some of the things. Say A is the set, then 1, 2, 3, 4. Suppose this set contains first 4 natural numbers, then I can write 2 belongs to A. At the same time, I can write 5 does not belong to A. That means, if an element is not here, then I can write like this. 5 is not a member of A. So these are the basic conventions of representing set. Then there are two different methods of writing a set. So let us study them. See, with the example, let me give the idea. Let us say set of first 5 natural numbers. See, this is, I have written in words. This we can write like this. 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. So first 5 natural numbers. This is called, that is, writing the elements is called roster form. So this is called roster, or another one is tabular form. So when a set A is written like this, when all the elements are listed here, this is called roster form. Say for example, W equal to, say, set of days in a week. I can write Sunday, then Monday, etc., like this. Of course, I have to put comma, then Monday, like that you have to write. So this is the method. So when you write actual element, that is roster or tabular form. There is one more method. That is called set builder form. So let me take the second method. This is called set builder form. What is this? See, when you represent the set using a common rule which holds all the elements together, that is called set builder form. Let me give an example and then clarify. Say, set of alphabets, of course in English. So this we can write, I can write like this: A, B, C, D, etc. last one X, Y, Z. So of course I need not write all of them like this. This is now tabular form, roster form. Now in set builder form, what we do is, we write like this: X such that, this is the method, we write X here, such that this column should be read as such that X is an alphabet. So if this is the rule, see all the elements here, they are ruled by one common characteristic. They are all the alphabets of English. Therefore, I have to write here X is an alphabet. It need not be X only. Even you can say, for example, alpha. There is a Greek letter. Alpha such that alpha is an alphabet. That means this is not the alphabet. These are the alphabets that is stated by this rule. Now let me make how to write a given set using set builder form. Say let us say A equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, say 5. I told this one, this is set of first 5 natural numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is given in roster form. Now I want to write this in set builder form. How to write? This can be written as X such that, so I can write it in different way. For example, first X such that X belongs to N, because X means 1, 2, 3, anyone. They are the members of this set, natural number, you know. And what is the condition? X should be less than or equal to 5. I can write like this. This means this is the rule. The first rule is that the element should be in set of naturals. That means it is from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. But the second rule says it should be maximum. It should not be more than 5. It can be equal to 5, but not more than 5. Therefore, when you write it in the tabular form, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out, right? When you write it in the rule method or set builder method, it is also called rule method. We have to write like this. See the thing, sometimes what they give is, they give the roster form. Then we have to convert into rule. Or sometimes it is given in the rule method, we can convert into tabular roster form. So let me first conclude what are the two types of representation, because you should not get confused and you should have the clear understanding. Set can be represented by two methods. One is roster, another one is set builder. So this is the thing. Now coming to roster, I have made it very clear. When you actually list all the elements of the set, that is called roster. And if you convert this, that means by representing the elements using a common characteristic or common rule, that is called set builder form. Now the thing is, sometimes questions will be like this. Set is represented in roster form, then you have to convert into set builder form. Or it can be given in set builder form, you have to convert into roster form. Let me first give how you can convert set builder form into roster form. So a few examples let us consider. First one, say A equal to X such that X belongs to N, X into X minus 1 into X minus 2 into X minus 3 equal to 0. Suppose this is the thing. So condition is this. First is that X should be in N, and second condition is X minus 1, X minus 2, X minus 3 must be equal to 0. So this is the rule. These two are the rules actually. So if I want to write it in tabular form or roster form, what I have to do is, see, X minus 1 into X minus 2 into X minus 3 equal to 0 implies X should be equal to 1 or 2 or 3. Therefore, in the roster form, I should write 1, 2, 3. So this is roster form. Now let me change the rule. Suppose I write here plus. No doubt, this equation will have the solution x equal to 1, x equal to 2, x equal to minus 3 also. But the condition is x should be natural number, so this I cannot take. Therefore, I have to take only 1 and 2. Therefore, whenever a set is given in the roster form, whenever set builder form, when you want to convert it into roster form, first you must see the condition here. First you must see the condition. So then you should write. Let me give a few more examples so that this idea will be very clear. Let me take b equal to, for example, x such that x is an integer 1 less than x less than 5. Suppose I write this. That means I should write the integers which are between 1 and 5. That means I have to take 1, I cannot take 2, 3 and 4. 5 also I cannot take. Therefore, I have to write in the tabular form like this: 2, then 3, then 4. So this is the thing. So like this, we can convert a given set into, when it is given in the set builder form, we can convert into tabular or roster. Both are one and the same. When roster form is given, we can also write in the set builder form. So let me first sum up what we have done so far. We have defined what the set is. Set is a well-defined collection of objects, number 1. There is a convention of writing set. A set is denoted by capital letter A, B, C, etc. Then the elements or members or objects are written between two flower brackets and separated by comma. This is a thing. Then we use the symbol belongs to. If the element is there in the set, we have to use this. If the element is not there, then we have to use this. So these are the things we have to understand, which is the basic of set concept. Now next, going to types of sets. Let us consider today a few types. So types of sets. Types. See, the first one is called empty set. Empty set. So what do you mean by empty set? That is a set which does not contain any element, and it is denoted by this flower bracket like this, but here there is nothing. So this indicates this is the set. It does not contain anything, empty. So therefore the word itself is empty set. Let me give an example. Suppose I say, I will write like this: A equal to set of all elements x. Look carefully, such that x is an integer. X is an integer. And 1 less than x less than 2. Now, can you find any integer between 1 and 2? Not possible. Therefore, this is empty set. This is one thing. Second one is the same empty set is also written and called null set. This is another word, or void also, void set. But it is sufficient if you use always empty set. This is the thing. And there is one more symbol. Either you can use this one. There is another symbol like this. This is also pi only. This is called pi. So empty set. This is the Greek letter pi, which is called empty set. But sometimes students get confused. They write like this. They write. This is wrong. Remember, this is a set which contains pi. It is not empty. So either you should use this one or you should use this. So this is the meaning of empty set. It's very simple. A set which does not contain any element. So that is the meaning of empty set. Second one is, today I will take only a few types. In the next class I will continue with the different types of sets. Say singleton set. singleton set. This is the second type. So this means a set which contains only one element. This is called singleton set. So for example, I can write A equal to 1. It need not be always numbers, it can be anything. For example, I can also write, say, A equal to set of present presidents of India. So India cannot have two presidents at the same time. So it is singleton set. Similarly, set of even prime numbers. There is only one even prime number. Like this, we can think of as many examples as possible. So, but what is important is you must understand the definitions and just one or two examples sufficient known. So, one is empty, next one is singleton. I will conclude my lecture today by introducing one more concept, that is called subset. So, with this, let me conclude. Subset. See, you take a set, for example, A equal to say 1, 2, 3. So this set contains 3 elements. Here afterwards, see that you can always represent in any way, but when you want to understand, it is always better you take in tabular form. Suppose you take B equal to say 2 and 3. 2 and 3. Then we say this set is the subset of A, meaning all the elements, see 2 is here, 2 is here, 3 is here, 3 is here. Therefore, we say that B is subset of A. And remember, in set language, we have our own symbols. Those symbols you have to use. You need not write like this. You can just write B is the subset of. This is the symbol. It's not C actually. Sometimes you can also distinguish like this. So this is the symbol. You have to read like this. B is subset of A. So what is the definition then? See, here in mathematics, what is important is once you understand the concept, then you have to define it. And that definition should be very, very precise. It should not lead to confusion. So the definition is this. Definition is a set B is subset of another set A if every element of B is also an element of A. So this is the thing. Every element of B is also an element of A. So therefore I have given you the example only first. A is 1, 2, 3. B is 2, 3. Now why B is subset of A? Because every element here is found here. Therefore this is the subset of this. So normally this set contains some more elements, but remember that is not a must. So in sets, it is based on clear logical statement. You have to understand everything properly. By definition, every set is also a subset of itself. Please try to understand this one very clearly. The definition of subset says every element of B should be an element of A. Now follow. Every element of A is also an element of A only. Therefore, this is a very important conclusion. You have to remember, every set is a subset of itself, because if X is here, it is here. So we symbolically write like this, and here afterwards, you should also understand the mathematical symbol and how we use it. Suppose I write A is subset of B instead of B subset of anyone you can write. This implies X belongs to A implies X belongs to B. So this is the short way of writing the same thing. A is a subset of B implies, that means whenever an element X is in A, it should be in B. Now try to understand this statement. Let me give a small example. Say x, y, and B is x, y, z. Now you see here, x is in A implies x is in B also. Here, x is in A, it is here also. Y is in A, it is here also. Don't worry about the extra element which is present in B. Therefore, what we say is A is the subset of B. This is the concept. Then you may ask, sir, if A is the subset of B, what about B? This is called superset. So whenever A is subset of B, B is called superset. Superset. So this is a bigger set, this is a smaller set. This one. Suppose both are equal, then you can use this. So this is the thing. So let me conclude today, because in the first lesson only let us not take all the concepts. I started with definition of set, which is set is collection of well-defined objects. That's the definition. Why it is well-defined, we have to say take well-defined, because if you take ambiguous statement, we will not be able to form the set. So the first necessary condition is that set means it is collection of well-defined objects. I have given sufficient examples for that. Then the next one is there are conventions of writing set. We use capital letter. Then elements are written inside the two flower brackets, something like x, then y, etc. You can write any number, say z, but last letter you should not use comma. In between always there must be comma. So don't write like, of course sometimes we write without our awareness, but strictly speaking you should write like this only. So this is the thing. Then symbol, x belongs to A, and for example here m, if I take this, does not belong to A. This is the thing. Then I also told two methods of representation. Methods. One is roster. Second one is set builder. So this is also called tabular. So these are the things. Then I just introduced three different types of sets. One is empty. Second one is singleton. Third one is concept of subset. Only these three. So this symbol is either this one or this. Singleton set means which contains only one element. So that is singleton. Subset means A is a subset of B, means every element of A should be in B. Normally this set contains some elements more than what is contained by A. So in that case we say proper subset. Otherwise it is simply subset. And this bigger set which is called the superset. So remember these things, revise, then let us meet in the next session, that is ML2. So there I will continue with types of sets. There are many different types of sets. Let us learn them in the next session. Till then, bye.